What if the people you trusted the most were hiding their darkest secrets? In this tale of forbidden love and betrayal, one man's escape leads to an unraveling web of deceit that could change everything. But who will pay the ultimate price? Sacred rituals take on new meaning when nuns and nobles begin their hidden games. Who will lose control first? The film kicks off with Lorenzo, a gambler, on the run from Gino Gerbino's men. After besting Gino in a game, Gino's ally, unwilling to accept defeat, now seeks Lorenzo's life. Despite the odds, Lorenzo narrowly escapes. The following day, Lorenzo's friends urge him to leave town, warning that Gino's men won't stop until he's dead. He takes their advice and flees on horseback. Meanwhile, we're introduced to Pia, the town's princess, who is mourning the loss of her parents to the plague. Gerbino offers to look after Pia, but she informs him that she is soon to marry Prince Zins of Russia. Gino deceitfully claims that her father owed him money and had mortgaged everything to settle his debts. Your father borrowed money from me to pay his debts against the security of his house and all his other assets. Gino claims that all of Pia's father's assets now belong to him, and the only way for her to clear the debt is by marrying him. Pia, deeply troubled, walks away without responding. Meanwhile, Gino's men are still chasing Lorenzo, who outsmarts them by hiding in a tree. However, the branch breaks, causing him to fall and knock himself unconscious. A group of nuns passing by discovers him and takes him back to their church. Smitten by his appearance, they begin kissing him, assuming he is unaware and unable to react. He's beautiful, strong. They take advantage of his apparent condition, but when their mother arrives and inquires about Lorenzo, the nuns cover for him, saying he's their mute and deaf gardener. Lorenzo overhears and decides to stay hidden from Gino's men. Later, while bathing, Lorenzo is surprised by two nuns who enter, and he becomes intimate with them. Meanwhile, Pia is advised by her friends to avoid Gerbino by posing as a nun at a nearby church. They suggest she waits there until Prince Zinsko arrives for their marriage in a few days. Following this plan, Pia disguises herself and goes to the church where she notices Lorenzo. Curious, she asks the nuns about him. They introduce him as the gardener.
Who's that man? He's our gardener.
And say he is also mute and deaf. Pia becomes intrigued and watches him closely. Lorenzo, meanwhile, sneaks into the bushes with one of the nuns for intimacy, unaware that Pia witnesses this. A few days later, Prince Zinsko arrives at Pia's palace, only to be confronted by Gino, who tells him to return to Russia because Pia is marrying him. Angered, Zinsko leaves but learns from a servant that Pia has sought refuge in a nearby church, disguised as a nun.
She's safe and well, and no matter what you hear is waiting for your arrival. This letter will give you instructions on how to get to her villa in the country. She'll meet you there for the wedding.
Zinsko rushes to the church upon hearing this. Meanwhile, two nuns approach Lorenzo, admitting they've never clapped before, and ask him to teach them. Ever accommodating, Lorenzo agrees to join them. They bring him to their mother's room and he spends the entire day clapping the mother as well. However, Pia dislikes all of this. The next day, Pia confronts Lorenzo to express her feelings. Lorenzo tries to remove her veil, but she stops him and instead blindfolds him. Lorenzo finds the situation intriguing and gets more excited, but Pia only kisses him. She admits she likes him, but when Lorenzo takes off the blindfold, she's already gone. Pia then goes to the mother, revealing that Lorenzo is a liar because she overheard him singing in the garden, proving he's neither mute nor deaf. The mother checks on Lorenzo, finding him asleep. She whispers in his ear, pretending she's there to kill him. Lorenzo panics, shouting,
Please, no, my...
The mother, furious over his lies, kicks him out of the church.
A miracle. I can speak.
Afterward, Pia also leaves the church and heads back to her palace. Lorenzo begs to accompany her, explaining he has nowhere else to go. Pia, delighted, agrees as she had hoped he would come along. Later, Prince Zinka approaches the church where he spots a nun, Melissa, bathing. Zinka tells her he's the Russian prince and has come to marry Princess Pia. He inquires about Pia's whereabouts, but the nun deceives him, claiming to be Pia herself. Overjoyed, Zinka embraces her.
You are Fontenay Anastasia, soon to be my bride, is this the truth? Yes, I'm an enchantment, and you have haunted my cool.
Pia and Lorenzo arrive in town, and Pia invites Lorenzo to stay at her house for a few days.
Wait, Lorenzo, you could stay just a little longer.
During dinner, Lorenzo confesses he's fallen for a nun who kissed him at the church, though he couldn't see her face but desires to marry her. Pia keeps her identity hidden, not revealing that she's the nun he speaks of. Meanwhile, Gerbino arrives, enraged to find Lorenzo with Pia, and attacks him. On the verge of killing Lorenzo, Pia intervenes, offering to marry Gerbino if he spares Lorenzo's life. Gerbino agrees and locks Lorenzo in jail. The next day, Pia tells Gerbino,
"Release Lorenzo, and you can send for the priest."
"He'll marry me now?"
"Yes."
Despite his anger, Gerbino consents to her terms. Lorenzo is released from the cell, and Pia urges him to go find his true love. Gerbino's men, assigned to escort Lorenzo out of town, suddenly attack him, forcing Lorenzo to defend himself, resulting in their deaths. Determined to save Pia, Lorenzo heads back to town. As the priest begins Pia and Gerbino's wedding ceremony, Zinka arrives unexpectedly, declaring that Pia is rightfully his and that he will marry her. A confrontation ensues as Zinka attacks Gerbino and his men. Lorenzo also arrives, and the fight intensifies. Gerbino chases Pia but crosses paths with Zinka, leading to a duel. Zinka defeats Gerbino and nearly kills him, but Lorenzo intervenes, insisting that Gerbino is his to defeat. Gerbino fights atop a well, but Lorenzo overpowers him, pushing him into the well to his death. Zinka proposes to Pia, but she declines.
"Kalsazinski, you are one of the bravest, most handsome men I've ever met, your son, but I cannot marry you."
Confused, Zinka asks about the previous day. Pia, unaware, removes her veil, revealing she isn't the one he fell for. Melissa appears, and Zinka recognizes her, expressing his love and kissing her. Pia can't locate Lorenzo, who is leaving. She rushes out and confesses her love.
"You have soul in my heart. I love you."
Lorenzo declines, saying his heart belongs to the nun who kissed him in the church. Pia requests he close his eyes and kisses him, making Lorenzo realize Pia is his true love. The movie concludes with this heartwarming moment. Just when you think love conquers all, fate takes a darker turn. But was it worth it? Tell us your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more movie recaps that will keep you on the edge of your seat. See you in the next twist.